Hey guys, how you doing? It's Henry, Mowers and Blowers. I know you can't see anything. That's my living room. Okay, that's my outside lights. Hold on. There we go. So we had a blackout. I've got my Briggs & Stratton generator running. I've had it since Hurricane Sandy, and it's never let me down. You ready for this? I've had original gas from Sandy. 8-something years, more than 8 years, fired right up. So I've just got one wire plugged into it, and the wire goes to another wire that goes into my living room. And then from my living room, it's in a circuit, a bunch of outlets where I'm plugging in a light, my electronics. I don't really need TV right now because honestly, it's all crap on TV these days. You know what I'm saying? So I have a video for today, but right before I was gonna upload it, we had a blackout. So I can't upload today's video. I'll do it tomorrow morning, I guess, when I wake up. But fun times. Coronavirus, right? Blackouts. Oh, and my refrigerator. I have to power my refrigerator, right? I don't want all the food to go bad, you know? So we'll get through the night, and hopefully the power will come on soon enough. See you later. What's up, everybody? It's Henry at Mowers and Blowers. Is this a lousy day or what, man? It's been raining like crazy since last night. It's about 10 o'clock now in the morning, and downpours, man. And it's been like this steady pretty much the entire morning, you know, lots and lots of rain. As a matter of fact, winds are very gusty too. Probably 50 to 60 miles an hour. As a matter of fact, the town has a bunch of trucks and bulldozers on the corner over there, and I hear chainsaws going off, so I know trees are falling down. Pretty bad. I had 2 or 3 appointments of people supposedly coming today to look at some tractors. But I don't think I want to be out there at all. I don't care if I sell anything or not, because this is just, my lawn is muddier than hell, right? That's all I need to do is be out there in the rain, driving a tractor around, tearing it up even more. That might be good, actually. I'll just reseed after that. It's kind of like tilling my entire lawn, you know? But I need to do something about my lawn, you know, and it's just not growing, you know, it's just muddy, you know. But I don't want to go to Home Depot and risk getting something just to get a bag of seed, you know. Anyway, so today, obviously, since I can't be outdoors, I don't even want to be outdoors to move anything around, right? I guess I'm going to work on those 2 Toros that I got for free. That's right, free yesterday. I'm going to start on the nice one, the Toro with the Kohler carburetor. Complaint from the guy who threw it out was that it leaked all the time. We'll find out what's up. So there it is. That's my Toro recycler with a Kohler carburetor. Got the cap and a nice new filter in here. And I'm looking at what's in the bag, and it appears to be the carburetor bowl, the gasket, this gasket, a nut, you're a nut, and he says it leaks. As you guys know, this is an auto choke. It's a very intricate setup there with the muffler with the thermostat on it that when it heats up, it moves the choke plate to open. If you messed with this, which I'm afraid the guy did, he messed with it, could have bent the linkage here, did this, did that, did the other thing. Just have really no idea what he did, you know what I mean? And that's the problem with messing with things that somebody else messed with that didn't know what they were doing, right? I'm not saying I know what I'm doing, but I don't know what I've been doing for quite a while, you know? But I've had very good success, so I'm not saying I know what I'm doing, but I usually get them going, you know? If I have to go and buy a brand new Carburetor, they're only like 12 bucks, 10 bucks, something like that. So there's a breather hose here that goes into this thing. And then another one over here, I believe it's something to do with the auto prime or something. Little one goes into that one, thick one goes into this one. Just taking it off so it's easier to work. Going to disconnect this fuel line. See the mechanism here. Smooth. There's definitely no gas in here because it's the bowl is off. Let's get started on removing this carburetor and taking a look. It's actually very comfortable. I'm indoors, got some light. Weather's bad outside, but I'm nice and toasty. And I'm casually wrenching in the garage. And you guys are with me. The hose is very stiff. Doesn't want to come off. And I don't want to break it. Well, look. This hose has a hole in it already. So this hose needs to be changed. The problem with the guy is he said that that's what happened, was that it was just leaking, you know? Well, this should be closed, you know what I mean? Because it's cold, you know what I mean? So this carburetor should be, the choke should be closed to start off. Unless the guy screwed with it and messed with it, it's not right. It looks okay, but it should be closed though, otherwise it's never going to start, you know? So that's an issue. I might have to go watch some videos, I forgot. So I've been looking on the internet and I can't really find anything on the choke thing on this because mine's different, you know, there's a different bracket here. If you look over here, here's that thermostat, right? That basically, when the engine's cold, right, this choke should be closed, okay? That's how it's supposed to be. And then, when it's closed, you can start the engine, right? And once you start the engine, right, the heat from the muffler makes this thermostat spring move and open the flap. Well, this one closes the flap when it heats up. So I have a feeling that somebody that was in here, right, flipped this the other direction. If this thing was flipped the other direction, I'm not sure here, this would be pulling, that would be pulling, and that might be closed. So what I'm going to do is I'm not even going to take this carburetor off just yet, right? I want to see if maybe that's the problem. Is that this guy, whoever was here, and you could tell somebody was here because you got rust marks there, which means that a wrench was here moving things around and did that. So maybe he put this thermostat backwards. You know, it's there now.
it's supposed to be there, you know? Maybe this part here should be over here, and this stud that goes upwards should be on the left side sticking up. And that way, maybe this would be like that when it's cold and the flap is closed. That's probably why it didn't start. You're not going to start it this way unless you spray something in there because a flap is open, you know? So it's supposed to be closed when it's cold. And this thing hasn't been run in a long time, I'm sure, so this should be closed. So I think that mechanism is on wrong. So I'm going to flip it around and see if that works out before I even address the carburetor, because I want to get the linkage right, you know what I mean? I'm going to remove the top shroud so I have good access to that part. It's all 10mm bolts on the Kohlers, just like the Hondas. It's very easy to remove this. Good design by Kohler. Just 3 nuts to take the recoil part off. Let's put it aside. And this cover comes right off. It's so easy. It's awesome. Has these spacers on there. Now we can like inspect everything. So I'm thinking this right here. This should be flipped the other way. This thing looks like it's too close to this wire. Like it's too much in here. I think it should be more out. Maybe. Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm going to loosen this. And just see, if I flip this around, will the choke be closed? Will the choke flap be closed when it's cold? See? So if it's like that, no, it's still open. How crazy is that? Oh, no, it's closed. Wait a minute. Yes, it's closed. So when it heats up, it'll open. It still seems like it's weird. I'm going to mess with it a little bit. Just think about it. So I wanted to show you guys something. Okay, so before I had this, before I had it like this, right? And it still didn't work because if it heated up, it would go this way, and it would kind of get in the way of this, right? And it's cold, so it's still open, you know? So then I flipped it around like this with this part on this side. And now this rod is parallel to here. Before it was like kind of diagonal, you know what I mean? Like that. It just didn't seem right because it was so close to this wire here, you know? So then I flipped it around like over here. And as you can see, the choke flap is closed. See? So that's supposed to be closed like that, right? So when the engine's cold, this is closed, you can start it. When this heats up, this moves this way and slowly opens the choke flap and allows it to run. And then later on, when the engine's still hot, it's still open, so you can start it up again. You know what I mean? But you know what? Let's test this. Let's test this mechanism. Okay. This thing right here. So you're gonna lift it up. Let's remember how it went here. This part, this stud here is inboard. Okay. This flap is going that way. So now we'll remember. So let's do this. I'm going to get my heat gun, right? And I'm going to heat the bottom here because that's where the muffler is, right? So I'm going to heat this up with a heat gun, and let's see if this automatically goes this way. Just to see if this thing works. Not only that, it's a pretty good video on doing it. So I've got my heat gun now. Let's just heat it up and see if it moves. Doesn't seem to be moving at all. Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute. Check it out. It is indeed moving. Look at that. So now it's opening the choke flap. Cool. Very cool. That is awesome. So, now we figured it out why it didn't start. The guy had the this thing, I don't know what it's called, the choke heat muffler thermostat. He had it on basically the wrong direction, you know. So that was the reason why it probably didn't start. And then he put the carburetor back wrong so that it wouldn't, you know, that it leaked, you know. So I'm just gonna put this back the right way now and put the carburetor together and see if it starts. I removed the carburetor. It was easy to do, just pull that out. That little thin wire was kind of like caught in the middle. Caught in the middle, back in the middle, caught in the middle. Anyway, so took this jet out. And the hole is kind of plugged. Kind of greasy. And I think the hole is plugged. I got that out of here. I thought maybe that you can get the other thing out, but I'm not going to mess with it. Yeah, there's no threads for you to do, but it looks a little grimy. So I'm going to blow out everything here. There's this thing over here. I'm going to get in the way of the light. Remove this one, right? This is the idling, the idle screw. Remove the idle screw, it's plastic. And then I want to remove this black thing here. This pops out. It's a plastic jet. I'm going to blow this out too. Then put everything back and see if it starts. I wanted you guys to see how dirty this jet nut was. Look at the stuff that was in the hole. This thing was definitely not going to start. Look at all that crap in there. Amazing, huh? So here's something very interesting too. So I put the float and the needle back, right? And for some reason, it wasn't like seating because there was just too much space between the top of the needle and the bottom where the needle starts. And then I looked at some diagrams and it was missing a spring, right? The spring that holds that space, that cushions it between up and down, right? And as you can see, there's a spring in there now because I took a ballpoint pen and I took that spring out and cut it to size. I had to measure, well, I had to try from big to small and stretch it a little bit, and now it seems to be seating. But how about that, huh? Putting a spring in there to cover the space. Rare. I don't get that too much. I think I put everything back on, I think, correctly. If not, it really wasn't that hard to take apart, actually. Not as bad as a Honda. Honda will drive you crazy, man. Crazy! So Kohler actually made this very easy to work on, you know. Got all the linkages on there. Put that spring on the needle. I mean, I'm assuming that that's how it goes, you know. Nobody really knows unless, you know, you work on Kohlers a lot, which I had a few of these, but, you know, it's been so long I don't remember. So I'm thinking it was leaking because this hose had a little bit of a leak. Also, maybe the guy didn't know how to put it on correctly, you know, the bowl and all that. Oh, the needle. It was missing the spring. So it's not putting pressure down to seat it. That's why it was continuously leaking, you know what I mean? So I put the spring in there. I don't know how long that will last. And he had the thermostat backwards, keeping the throttle, keeping the choke plate open instead of closed on a cold start. So I'm going to put some gas in and let's see if this baby starts up. So I just put gas in. It's about half full and I don't see any leaks, which is good. Alright, here it is, moment of truth. Let's see if it starts. How about that? Who's up the throttle? Gonna have to figure this one out. First pull, by the way. So, while we figured out the auto choke thing with the thermostat thing, first pull it ran, but then it started to like overflow. It felt like there was too much gas, right? Because you can see that smoke coming out, the too rich smoke. And then all of a sudden I stopped it, and there was fuel pouring out the mouth of the carburetor, just dripping down here, right? And so that little spring that I made with the pen spring, that's just not going to work, you know. I need the OEM needle with the OEM spring for it to work properly, because it was keeping the needle open and it was flooding the carburetor. So I might have to bite the bullet and buy one for $10. You know what? I think I might try to sell this thing for $275 or $250. I mean, look, it needs a little wipe down, but it's in. Look at the wheels. They're like new. This whole thing is like new, you know? I don't know if I'll get $275, but maybe $200, you know what I mean? But I'll list it for like $275 and people will talk it down, whatever. It's a really good mower, you know? Just gotta get a new carburetor is all. So I'm gonna do that. I guess I'm gonna move on to this one over here. I mean, I've got two in the garage. I might as well work on it, right? I don't know what's wrong with that, but I'll tell you what, let's just put gas in and see if it starts. So I put it outside so it doesn't stink of smoke. I just primed it, right, and it seems like it's working. I took the air cleaner off and primed it to see if any fluid or gas would come out of that red little pipe that's sticking out the back. There's a little bit of gas in here, So I'm just gonna pull it and see what happens. It's got a short rope and the recoil is kind of funky. When I push the primer, it seems like it's soft. How it works. Hate to come to this. How about that, huh? Awesome. I think the carburetor probably needs to be cleaned a little bit. And look at the handles. Very loose, wobbly. Unless that's actually the way it is. It is actually the way it is. So a funky screw over here needs to be tightened. How about that, huh? So I'm going to take the recoil starter off because look, it's a short rope and it's funky. Boy, oh boy, am I surprised, huh? So I just threaded a new bolt in here. Solid now. I'm gonna take the, I'm gonna take the engine cover off. And I'm going to take the recoil starter off. Tighten the rope a little. At least check out the situation. It's a 1/4-inch bolts that are inset inside there. It's kind of a lousy design because when you leave it outside, water pools up in these holes and it rusts out the bolts. Terrible design. Gas? I mean, the oil is actually a little dark, but it seems okay. Not terrible. Not good, but not terrible. I'm going to take this recoil starter off. It's 3 or 4 bolts, screws or bolts, whatever you want to call them. They're little tiny screws, but they're bolts. Well, it's usually 3 or 4, but this is only 2. Actually feels pretty good. It's probably just a short rope. It is. It's very short. It's actually okay. I'm gonna put some Earl in it. Using some of this toolbox buddy from my friends over at Lucas Oil Products. It's just like WD-40. I'm looking for the part where the metal coil clips onto the reel. Right there. Put some toolbox buddy in the seams here. There, shoots them in the coil. This way the coil's nicely lubricated, right? So it will bounce back better. Oh, it actually seems long enough. I don't know why it seemed like it just wasn't bouncing back, you know, reeling back. All it takes. Because there's grime in here, oil, dust over the years. Dries out, becomes a little bit more stiff, you know. Lubricate it a little bit, it should be okay. I'm going to try to find a third. See, there's supposed to be 1, 2, or 3. Well, actually 4, but some of these holes aren't drilled out. I'm going to have to find 2 more screws to get this on right. Then I'll probably take the carburetor off and clean it. Been like this all day. So I couldn't stand it. It just wasn't right. And I took this off, and it looks like I can reel it another 3 revolutions. I'm still turning it. So that's why the tension wasn't tight at all, because it had like maybe 1 or 2 revolutions of it under tension, you know? Look at this. I keep spinning this until, okay, now it's starting to slow down. Now the tension's really tight. So holes here, right? I want to match it up to the other one. Here. If I can go all the way, I can't. I don't want to push it. I want to break the coil. So we'll take it another half a turn over here. Shove it in there. It's going to take some doing. Just have it. You can see it. Pushing it through. You can see it. Can I grab it? Yes! I have fished it through. And I'll put this here so it won't turn anymore. And make a knot. A knot. So now it'll suck in all the way. Because the tension is like 3 more revolutions of a wind. I've wound it 3 more times to make it nice and tight. But then you're thinking, hey Henry, but then this tab thing will be stuck there. No, I'm just going to remove this tab. That's just perfect to stop it from, going in. So now this is going to suck all the way in. Tight, see? All the way in. That's what she said! That's good. After I put this back together again, I guess I'll take the carb off, just the bottom, and see if I can do a quick and dirty. So I took the bowl off, tilted it to the side, and clean out the bowl. The bowl is very clean. It had like this pink substance in it. I think it's like stable or some stabilizer that they put in there, right? That's why it stayed so clean. I blew up the emulsion tube and cleaned it out, and I put the air filter back on. You know what's funny is that I was just sitting here doing this, right? And I have my son's basketball net over there, right? It's got water in it and sand. But the wind was so strong that it blew the basketball net all the way down, and that the rim was just about to hit the windshield of my wife's car, right? It was like within 2 inches of hitting the windshield, and then blew back again. I'm like, holy cow! That thing almost just went through her windshield, you know? But just the balance of the weight of the basketball net went right back up again. So I had to move the car out of the way just in case it happened again. Man, it's been raining like this all day, and the winds are like 60 miles an hour. I mean, it's like a hurricane, you know? Anyway, so look. Recoil starter is now nice and tight, see? Cleaned out the carburetor, just a quick and dirty. See if it starts. I just added some gas too. Sounds good, but I think it's revving too high, you know, the RPM. I'm going to just bend that rod back a little. on the Tecumsehs, on the inner part here, there's an area right where the spring is, see? Easy for you to say, Henry. Right there. Bend it back a little so it's not that much tension on the rod. That might be too much. Let's see. Let me mess with it. I'm going to get it a little bit. This thing starts in one pull. Nice machine, man. Seriously. Fantastic. So today, I fixed 2 Toro recycler lawnmowers. Of course, that one still needs a new carb, right? Which I am more than happy to go buy for $10 because that thing is money. The guy had the thermostat on backwards, which is why it wouldn't start no matter what happens. And then it's missing the spring on the needle for the carburetor. Since I don't have it, I haven't worked on a Kohler engine in a long time. I don't have any Kohler spare parts. So it's about time I actually paid some money. So I'm going to go order one on eBay, wait for it to come, put the new carburetor on. This thing's good to go for like $250, you know? Nice score. I got it for free yesterday. A guy just gave away both of them together. This one pretty much had nothing wrong with it other than the handles being loose. I needed a new bolt in there. I did a quick and dirty on the carburetor even though it ran no matter what anyway. And wiped it down a little bit, adjusted the RPMs. Basically, this thing was, you know, pretty much ready to go. No sales today because it's a yucky day. It's been a yucky day all day. And my lawn is just completely trashed. But was able to just wrench a little bit in the garage today and fix these 2 Toro recyclers that I got for free. That's right, free. We'll see you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers. Brand loyalty, baby. Hey guys, support my channel. Buy a sticker. Also follow me on Instagram @MowersBlowers. Check out my website, MowersBlowers.com. See you guys next month. Have a great day.
See you next time on Mowers and Blowers.